This week's scenario is close quarters. It consists of 2 flags. The friendly flag can be dominated for 1 CP. The enemy flag can be controlled for 1 CP or dominated for 2 CPs. Victory conditions consist of 5 control points or caster assassination.
Pokey here. I went back to one of my old tried and true lists, my Resheth tier 4 chain gang list. What can I say? You know, it's got Gators, it's got Titan. What more could you ask for other than, you know, maybe some Task Masters? So yeah, it's 3 Agonizers, which is kind of painful at times for other, you know, for Warmachine players. But it's a fun list. I enjoy playing it. So here you go.
This is Iron Lich W, and this week I brought Lord Exhumator Scaverous. I really like Scaverous' spell list. I really like Scaverous. It's just really hard for me to use him appropriately. But anyhow, I brought Malice as his heavy jack, a unit of Bane Knights, Crow's Cutthroats to take advantage of telekinesis, Blood Witches because they stop healing, so they're almost auto-included at this point for me. Soul Trappers because I like to see if I try and get Scaverous some extra souls for his feat turn.
Alright, I won the roll to go first, so that way I could get a little extra, hopefully get a better position on the board. With the tier bonus being tier 4, I get plus 2 inches of my deployment zone, so it's almost like I was setting up almost on the 10-inch line anyways. For the most part, the battle group goes in the middle, and then the Gators flank on either side. It's a pretty typical setup, nothing too out of the ordinary, too crazy with it. You know, a Task Master assigned to each flank to go with the Gators, and then Agonizers mixed in to keep up with the Titans.
For deployment, I start by putting Malice on the left, that way I can try and get him around that heavy forest. I put the Bane Knights right behind the forest since their Ghostly will help them mitigate the movement penalty. Tiger's right next to Bane Knights where he lives. I put Night Wretch at each edge of the forest, along with the Blood Witches on the far right flank so they don't have to deal with any terrain issues. I have to be careful with my Blood Witches because my opponent does have 2 Posse units and my Blood Witches generally fail their command check. So, with support behind all the frontline units and Scaverous near the middle. For advanced deployment, I put Crow's Cutthroats on the left flank because I don't want Crows to kind of box into Bane Knights.
Alright, turn 1. Luckily for me, he has living units, one on each side, so helps out the Gators a little bit because they do prefer living models to charge and eat. But I start with Resheth. He puts out Rush on the Sentry, and then fills up the Agonizers because the tier bonus, each Agonizer starts with 3 Fury. He just went ahead and topped them all off. So the Sentry activates, riles, runs. The Gladiator then puts Rush on the Bronzeback, and normally he'd slam something to get him the extra distance of the field, but he had nothing in his line of sight that he could charge or slam into. So he just did a standard advance, which is still okay. Then the Bronzeback activates. He runs because he can. He gets into the cloud that the Swamp Gobbers put up. I elected to have the Swamp Gobbers get the extra speed, as well as that unit of Gators, because I get one Minion unit gets plus 2 speed the first turn for every Task Master. So I nominated the Gators and the Swamp Gobbers because I wanted to make sure the Swamp Gobbers got in front of Resheth, and the cloud would be in front of him, because normally it'd be speed 6, which means that even if they put the cloud ahead of him, there is the potential that he could have been in there. So went ahead and gave it to them and the Gators, the Swamp Gobbers and the Gators, and then the Agonizers run up to get closer to the front line, and then the Beast Handlers move up, make sure I have the correct fury, and that's the end of my go.
Cryx turn 1. I go ahead and activate the scrap throw. I'll have him run just to get him out of the way because I don't want him blown up and killing my blood witches. Then I activate the blood witches and have them run, being mindful not to get close to that scrap throw because I don't want anyone taking a POW 8. So I then activate the Siren, power boost the Night Wretch. Then I activate Banelord Tartarus, have him run so I don't box him in later on. And then I have a Soul Trapper run. So once Soul Trapper's done, Scarlock activates, advances, and gives Ghost Walk to the Night Wretch that received the focus from power boosting. The whole purpose is I'm trying to go after the Gatorman Posse on my left flank. So then I activate the Night Wretch and I have him run not all the way, but a good deal towards the end of the forest. That way I can get the 2 Gatorman Posses within line of sight and within range of Scaverous' telekinesis. Once Night Wretch has been unboxed or unpacked, I activate the Bane Knights and I have them flood the forest. My opponent kills 1, trigger Vengeance, getting them through that forest. Then I activate Scaverous. I advance him. I first cast Icy Grip onto the Gatorman Posse. That way I can drop their defense and hopefully prevent any kind of retaliation from them. So Icy Grip hits. I boosted the Icy Grip. Then I go ahead and use Telekinesis on the first Gator. Successfully hits. I advance him forward and turn him around so I can get the additional dice from the Crow's Cutthroats. I do it again to the second Gator. Hit him, move him forward and turn around. That way the Crow's Cutthroats get backstabbed. I rarely get to do this, so I'm really going to enjoy this, or at least really try to enjoy this. So I activate the Cutthroats, I advance them, make sure I leave a gap wide enough for Malice to get through, because I don't want to end up boxing Malice in. As you can tell, sometimes I have boxing issues. Well, anyhow, I start shooting. First Cutthroat hits the one Gatorman Posse member and does pretty good damage to him. Then activate the second Cutthroat, hits him as well, ends up killing him. So I mean, I can see how this combo is really awesome. So then I move on to the second Posse member who's in range. I end up killing him as well. And then there's a third Posse member in range, but he's going to get cover, so I take a pot shot at him just to see, maybe I'll hit him. And I miss him horrifically. I think I rolled 3. And a 6 on the second one. So, I had my fun. Then Malice activates, he advances. The second Night Wretch advances, and then the Soul Trapper and Necrotech run.
Alright, well, those Crow's Cutthroats, between being telekinesis backwards and then whatever that spell was that did bad things to me, it just kind of reduced the fighting strength of those Gators a lot. Really kind of went against the plan that I had. Honestly didn't realize it was going to be that good of a plan for him. So now I have to rethink what I'm doing here, because if I would have had those 2 extra Gators, I could have really locked into his line, hopefully kept him back, and done some bad stuff to him. But now I have to figure out what to do with that flank, because he has the Bane Knights, the Crow's Cutthroats, plus he has the Heavy Jack. I mean, he just has a lot on that flank coming towards my flag. I have 3 Gators and a Bronzeback so far over there that's going to be able to do anything for him. So the overall plan for this turn: lock down the 1 arc node I can get to in the front. If anything, try to lock down some of the crows, and as you saw, the Baby moved forward, did Spiritual Affliction. hoping to get it to where the baby will allow it no arcing, and also no allocation of focus. So hopefully I can, even if it costs me the Agonizer, I have 2 more, and I'll just hopefully try to work it around to where between the 2 I will get the reduction in the allowing him to use his jacks. Nice thing about Resheth, he has a once per turn ability of arcing a spell through one of the warrior models. Nice thing is Agonizer counts as a warrior model, so I arced a Breath of Corruption through the Agonizer and was able to drop some of those Crow's Cutthroats. I was really kind of hoping to aim for the other side, but I was really worried about the distance. So I wanted to make sure that any kind of scatter I'd have would be a good scatter. So now I went and we start on the other side, and I'm trying to get a good angle for where I can charge with those Gators. They're going to do Dirge of Mist, and then charging the ladies up there. They're living models, so I get the +2 speed, or +2 movement. So the next one goes and he tries to charge the little explodey guy, and ends up failing because he's not living, so I don't get the extra 2 inches. If I would have gotten the extra 2 inches, I might have been able to get in there. So then the rest of the Gators end up running forward. They of course do Dirge of Mist. Increased defense and causing terror is always a decent thing. So I was able to swing on the one girl, eat her. Well, not eat her, but definitely take her out. Then the Taskmaster moves up, gives them Tempered Flesh, which is basically tough and fearless. But they're already fearless, but the tough is nice. So now the other one, the other Taskmaster on the lower side, you just saw me go behind the tent. She just moved up, and she put up Dirge of Mist on them as well, on that second unit of Gators, and then those Gators took the order to charge. We did have some question as to if they would be able to charge with the spell up, and the spell just says they can't run. So we opted to go ahead and have them, we said, okay, we're going to go ahead and let them be able to charge. With Dirge of Mist up, which is what they ended up putting up on themselves, they were able to get up there and cause a panic attack in the Crow's Cutthroats. So they fled, and I was able to kill one. So now the Bronzeback moved forward, trying to get in a better position, hoping to potentially get up there to do something. Then the Gladiator moved up behind them and did a push. Pushes on a hit, strength check, blah 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 blah. That's why he's close behind his buddy's butt, because that's where he had to go. So what you just saw us check there was that the enraged, rushed Sentry charged his arc node that's sitting in the trees. My biggest hope is I could just do what I need to do, whittle it down, worst case scenario, put Locker up, and it's not going anywhere. Unless they can take out the Armor 21 Titan that's sitting right there. Which I'm hoping they can't. But it is enough that the nice little guy, I was able to roll high enough to take out the arc node. And then still end up putting up Locker. Just because, force of habit, just in case one of the jacks decide to get close enough, it's there. Don't ask. It's just muscle memory type thing.
So for Cryx turn 2, I taken a moment to survey the board. To my not very much surprise, Crow's Cutthroats have broken because they are terrified of the Gatorman and Posse. If it's not the Blood Witches, it's the Cutthroats in this list. Well, anyhow, I'm still seeing a potential for an assassination run here. If there's one thing I like, it's an assassination run. Regardless if it's only going to be like 10% successful. Character flaw, but hey, That's what makes the game fun for me. So I take a good deal of time sizing up what I want to do. See, what I'm thinking is charge Tartarus at the Posse member, try and kill that Paingiver to create a Bane Knight within command range to charge Resheth. Resheth only got one transfer on him. So if I create the Tartarus successfully kills the Paingiver, I get a Bane Knight. Before the Bane Knights activate, charge Scaverous in there, pop feed, and target Resheth with like 3 POW 13s to try and get that transfer and lower his life. I decide this is a reasonable plan. I'd be hitting him 4 times, 3 Excarnates and a Bane Knight, and I should be able to put him down. So I go ahead and start off this miracle plan of mine by charging the Posse member, cursing the Paingiver, hitting the Posse member with the charge attack, and then missing the Paingiver. I only need a 6. I rolled less than that. I rolled Snake Eyes. That's how my dice go sometimes. So I quickly try and not panic by activating the Scrap Throw and charging a Posse member. Doing Death Burst. I miss, no surprise. At least the Scrap Thrall is now around to threaten the Blood Witches. So then I go ahead and activate the Scarlock. I have him move up. He's going to cast Icy Grip on the Posse member that's on my right flank. I hit with Boxcars. They're a lot easier for the Blood Witches to hit. Activate the Blood Witches, and I risk having them break as well, but I need to start taking care of the Posse members. So I mini feat with them, and I charge in, making sure I get gang on as many Posse members as possible. So I end up charging 3 different Posse members and getting, at least being able to get gang in there. And with the remaining ones, I run just to get them up in a place where they can threaten, except for the Blood Hag, who I keep back to make sure she is not in danger. So I pass my command check, thankfully. Then I proceed to rolling dice against armor 18 because the Posse members have unyielding. POW 10 to 12 with gang. It's going to take a few attacks to kill anybody. But I miraculously end up killing one Posse member and using Death Strike to kill one of the Gobbers. So I'm like, hey, that's a free bonus because those Gobbers are tough to hit. Defense 16 or something like that. Then the one Posse member survives all the attacks. And then a third Posse member actually falls to the Blood Witches. And I do Death Strike on another Posse member, but their armor is too high. So not much is gained there. But I end up killing 2 Posse members. So I am actually thinking that's reasonable. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't do Death Strike the second time. I did Blood Mist to try and give them some concealment. Well, after the Blood Witches are done, I go ahead and activate Siren and have her run, because I am going to use her to power boost that second Night Wretch, because my first one got blown up because someone decided to be mean and charge him with a rather large beast. Then I activate the Bane Knights. They take the order to charge, and they start working on that the Posse that's on my left flank. They're down to 3. Let me see if I can knock them down to 2. I also charge the Agonizer so I can start allocating focus again. Siren's the only way that's going to get around that for the Night Wretch. So anyhow, the Knights, they hit the Posse member. Well, the first one does. My opponent passes his tough check because my Blood Hag is on the other side of the table. And then the remaining Bane Knights fail to kill him. So I think 2 miss, and my opponent passes a tough check a second time. And then I don't kill the Agonizer either. So I killed nothing. Then I activate Malice, have him move up, punch another one of the Posse members, do enough damage to force him to a tough check, and my opponent passes another tough check. Then I bring in the Necrotech, champion of melee. And then he misses, which is not surprising. So I activate the second Night Rich, I advance him, activate the first Soul Trapper, advance and transfer the soul to Scaverous, so that he will have 8 next turn. Realize that I am not inside the kill box, so instead of walking Scaverous into range of a Sentry, I run him to the side, and then the second Soul Trapper does nothing, and the Cutthroats failed to rally.
Alright, we're actually to turn 3, and I'm still good with my heavies. Looks like I still have most of my Gators. I did end up losing the one, which is unfortunate, up on the top side. But, you know, I was able to still keep the other one, even though Charterus charged him. And, so yeah, it's, you know, so far it's a good thing. The Swamp Gobbers, the one that died, ended up failing their command check. So now that one's just going to stand there and, you know, whimper and cry a little bit. So now the rest of this turn. Yes, his caster is sitting on a lot of focus. Yes, the Sentry is still locked in. Yes, I still have a feat. Unfortunately, this is his feat. Resheth's feat is probably not the best feat to use against Cryx. It works against living enemy models. Well, his living enemy models aren't really my biggest concern. Maybe because they can take out maybe a Gator or something like that. But as long as I have them locked down, not a whole bunch of big threat. So we activate the Gladiator. He's going to do the push again, or he's actually going to come up to do the push. Strength check, and did he put Rush up on the Bronzeback? Because the hope is that I'm going to be able to take out whatever that character Jack's name is over there in that corner. Crow's Cutthroats still running, still afraid. So I'm happy with that. But he has a lot more infantry than I do. So that's a bad thing for me. So here's the plan. The plan for this turn is to move the Agonizer up, get it close enough for a Breath of Corruption. I'm going to hopefully Breath of Corruption the 3 models that are locking down the Sentry, because I would love to charge his caster. And I think between Rush and the distance there, I should have the distance to get to his caster. I mean, with Rush, Reach, I mean, that's a pretty good threat range for them, for a Titan. The downside, the Sentry is only map 5. Needs some help. If it was a living model, I could put Carnivore up on him and everything would be good. But he's not a living model, so gonna have to do this the hard way and roll high. So, but I got other things I need to get done first. Hopefully, you know, hoping I can get some other stuff whittled down, taken care of. First things first, I gotta take out Tartarus, because with his ghostly ability and everything else, I cannot let that guy anywhere near my caster or my front line or on the table. He should just be off the table. I should be able to shoot him turn 1, boom. But unfortunately, that's not how this works. Horrible model. I hate facing up against him, but it is what it is. So now, acting the beast handlers, they do the little business of enraging and conditioning and all the other happy stuff. The little Agonizer moves up. I love this list because it just messes so much with other people's warjacks and warbeasts. You know, all the Agonizers running around. Oh, no allocation. Oh, no this, no that. Ah, you can't do stuff. Love it. It's the only time you can actually field that many Agonizers. It's a great, great time. Alright, so down to the lower Gator units. they have to get out of the way, because I have to get to that jack. So, to start off with, I have them swing on the Banes and the little repair guy, and try to do their best to do what they can. Now, my hope is that I can clear enough of those guys out that they don't get a free strike off of the Bronzeback when the Bronzeback comes in, and that, you know, hopefully stuff will be where it needs to be and out of the way. So now the Bronzeback activates, and now I'm trying to figure out where the best place to put him, because you guys all know as soon as he gets to where he's going, I'm going to do one for Trainwreck. He's going to take, you know, tusks or something against the first guy. As soon as I hit him, he triggers Trainwreck. I then get to do the, you know, finish out the attack and move an inch. So then I take my second swing, move up, boom. I'm out by like a quarter of an inch, you know, from where I need to be. It's so close, but yet so far. I did have the distance to get a lot further, but I needed one of those Banes to go away first. So now it's the big thing. Can the Sentry do it? His caster's camping on, what is that, 6, 7 focus. So he's like armor or something stupid, ridiculously high. So I boost it to hit. And of course the damage is already boosted, so that's already that. I then take my tusks and my shield against that little guy that's right there within half an inch of me. Alright, then I bind, then I boost to see if I can roll. I think I need to roll a 9 or something to hit his caster. Too bad he wasn't living, because I would have put Carnivore up on him and needing only 7s. So, seeing as how that failed, now I need to figure out a way to try to keep him away from my caster.
Cryx turn 3. Once again, my opponent has gotten his Titan Sentry onto me. Luckily, he wasn't able to hit and do enough damage to kill my caster, so I have life at this game still. So the Bane Knights do their vengeance moves, and they take vengeance upon the Agonizer, who's been a pain. But I'm thinking at this point, I don't even need to allocate, since I have an idea of what I'm going to do. I'm going to try Assassination run again. So I'm thinking is similar to what I did. Now that I have 8 focus to play with, I'm feeling excited. I'm going to charge in there, throw out a couple of telekinesis on Feast turn, and a few X-Garnates. So I immediately start with the Blood Witches. I need them to get out of the way, so I end up taking a free strike with 1, but that's okay. She dies. I have a cleared charge lane on Scaverous. And the Blood Witches decide to use this turn to prove that they are amazing, as they end up killing 2 Posse members. I'm like, why can't they do this when I need them to do this, not when they're just, you know, playing in garbage time. So, I ended up killing Paingiver as well. And 2 Posse members, as stated earlier. When I kill the Posse members, I'm doing Death Strike, which is how I killed the Paingiver. And then when I kill the second Posse member, I try and take a Death Strike on the Task Master. Don't end up doing any damage to him. And then once the Blood Witches are done, go ahead and activate the Scarlock, advance him, and go ahead and put Ghost Walk on Scaverous. That way Scaverous can charge out of combat without taking the free strike. So once Scarlock's done, Scaverous activates and charges the Posse member. Put my medium base down for placement. Make sure it's good. Check for laser, the charge lane. Everything is good. So I charge in there. Once I have a successful charge, he pops feet, which makes my spells 1 point cheaper, and they're auto boosted on the hit. and my opponent's spells are one point more expensive. So because Scaverous has got 8 focus, I go ahead and use telekinesis, hit on himself once, move him 2 inches forward. At this point, I'm trying to actually get Resheth into combat, since I know he's low defense, low armor, nice and squishy. But when I notice that if once I move him, I'm still not gonna be able to reach him, I end up just turning him around and hoping that Bane Knights are enough to put him down. So I launched first Excarnate, that hits, does some good damage. Do the second Excarnate, that hits. Do some more damage after I'm meddling on whether I want to do a third one or whether I want to boost it. I end up not boosting it. My opponent transfers this damage. And then I do Excarnate a third time. I'm wondering if I'm able to kill any other models to put a Bane Knight down instead of at the caster, but I decide I can't risk it. So I throw the third Excarnate into Resheth and only do 2 points of damage, which wouldn't have killed anything, so it's good damage on Resheth. Then once Scaverous is done, I go ahead and just activate Bane Knights, and they all take the order to charge. So Resheth has 1 transfer left, a little over half life, so I need to get as many Bane Knights in there as possible. So with movement 8, I'm able to get 4 Bane Knights. I checked line of sight and determined that I can't see 2 of them. But when I checked threat range on the 4th one, he's in range, and so I move him his full distance. So I'm able to get 4 Bane Knights on Resheth. They're swinging over the wall, but they activate in his back arc, so it kind of cancels out. Resheth has a transfer damage from the first Bane Knight attack, which lands, which is looking good for me. And then the second Bane Knight hits and does a lot of damage, and is enough to kill Resheth. So go Bane Knights.
Alright, afterthoughts. I'd like to thank Ironless W for the game. Good game. It's always a joy to play against him. Even when you're losing, it's still like you're having fun. The game, though, I feel I played the game probably a little more aggressive than I probably should have. But I saw opportunities to keep him, hopefully, in the background. Hopefully, on the back foot, so I could try to get other pieces in play to whittle down the rest of his army to where I was hopefully going to win on the peace trade. Unfortunately, as Cryx goes, it was a little faster and a little more assassination oriented than I thought it was going to be, and it was probably should have played a little safer than I had, but if I had to do it again, I'd probably play it the same way. No changes, maybe killing more Banes, but that's about it. So hope you all enjoyed the game. Thanks for watching.